Hello everyone, Pineapple here with the latest in the SCU, the Sonic Cinematic Universe. Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Well, we already looked at Knuckles.
Do you believe in heaven above? Do you believe in love?
So it's just Sonic 3 this time. The Sonic series has been probably the most consistent video game series to come to the big screen. All of the films a little plain in parts, but very entertaining, and using the game lore in such a way that makes it accessible for everyone. Those who know nothing able to get into the aliens from the human's perspective, and game fans that love the characters and references can enjoy the new aspects. And quite frankly, I think that this is the best so far, refining the concept as the movies have gone along, and I'm telling you, they can milk this for decades. I'm really wanting to listen to more Crush 40, so why don't we jump into Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The movie starts with some cool stylized logos, even if I'll never think the original film bumper isn't silly, and we open on the imaginatively named Prison Island. Thank God the prison wasn't on Freedom Island, that wouldn't have made much sense. We see it's a gun base, where Shadow is in stasis, watched over by this guy from the Lonely Island. Bloody hell, lonely, prison, freedom, there's too many islands already! And we get a quick flash of images from Shadow's psyche before he wakes, giving us some good foreshadowing. Set to a very good acoustic version of Live and Learn, which is used repeatedly as a motif in the soundtrack, and a quick oversimplified version of his story with Maria. But thanks to a Robotnik-themed hack, Shadow is freed and absolutely wrecks the gun agents that try to subdue him. It's a good action sequence, and I must say, while the CGI is pretty good in the last films, Shadow looks fucking excellent here. And the water droplets they put on him here and later all look great. He speeds off, badassly skating across the ocean to the mainland, and we see the title card. Still keeping that neon font I love, and having, while not an amazing logo, a decent one that represents Sonic and Shadow, prefacing how this movie treats their duality. We get a happier scene, reintroducing our main Mobians, having a fun race through the forest, reprised by Ben Schwartz, Kalina Shaughnessy, and Idris Elba. Maddie and Tom are also there, with what feels like less screen time than the last two films. I'm not sure what they are here for is mostly solid, although looking at Maddie's pink jumper, I think the Maddie colours theory is somewhat true, judging by the post-credits scene. Although not originally planned, I think Jeff Fowler is now in on the joke, so keep a lookout for the next film. It turns out the race was just a false flag to make time to get Sonic's birthday party set up. It's a nice little bit of downtime before the plot starts, and does tie into the themes well. The standout of its moments with Tom, where they actually go back to Sonic's den from the first film, and even if it's a clear setup of themes, the moment where Tom tells Sonic not to let pain change him is still played pretty well as a genuine moment. And the edit of Shadow into it goes hard, and that's two scenes in a row now where they pair Shadow up with good water effects. Thankfully there is a billboard telling Shadow what the year is, so he can understand it's been 50 years since he was put in stasis. And Gun advance, attempting to take him in again. Our main characters are having great fun, so of course the plot gets in the way as Gun, at the moment led by Kristen Ritter, as Director Rockwell, who I hope to God is being set up for a future role like Rouge's lesbian-looking sidekick, because she does fuck all in this film, is a needless antagonist for half of it, and then vanishes before the third act. Team Sonic get to Japan in record time, ready to capture Shadow, dropping out of the plane much akin to his entrance in Sonic Adventure 2. Again, this movie takes a lot of inspiration from, or at least I'm told that, I've only seen the abridged.
I miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot. I'll be back.
Are you my mom?
They pretty much get straight into the Shadow fight, with a great entrance, although I am a little disappointed he's not trying to kill them with an AK. Well, he does use a gun for like 5 minutes later, but hey. They bring up the whole they look like each other thing, and at least they say like here and don't pretend they're able to be mistaken for one another. But both of their designs are tweaked from the second film, Shadow looking a lot more individual and less based on Sonic. This is pretty much the first time we hear Keanu talk to the other characters, and while it is still a very Keanu performance, his voice fits Shadow quite well. They get into it, and both the comedy and shot composition are good from the get-go. But the action comes to a slow start, this nonsensical injury to Knuckles that a lot of people have called bullshit on, but the action does get progressively better. Especially once the echidna is taken out, and Tails just sort of stops. Shadow using his chaos energy to power the bike is pretty silly, but the Akira slide and jump are pretty cool as he knocks Sonic and the city's power out. One of the lesser complaints I have rewatching this is how vague the power scaling is. Knuckles is stronger than Sonic. Okay, makes sense, he's beefier and is trained as a warrior, flames of disaster, etc.
The flames of disaster!
Tails is weak because he's the brains, the tech guy, he doesn't really do fisticuffs. But Shadow is stronger than all of them because he came from an asteroid? They call him the ultimate life form, but I don't really take that at face value when it's Olive Garden guy calling him that. And his chaos energy, which is also not explained, can make him teleport and power fucking black holes. And don't get me started on how inconsistent and brushed away the Chaos Emeralds are later. It's not a major issue, but one can get hung up on it. They have some downtime at a Chow Garden cafe, which is a cute way to integrate the Chow.
Are you Detective Pikachu?
Yes, he is!
He does look like a Pokemon! Pika Pika!
They're met by Commander Walters, the Olive Garden guy, who comes to give Sonic and us the rundown of Shadow's backstory. And if it weren't for Tom Butler and my love of the character, this scene would suck ass. As his dialogue is so generic, I was expecting him to start with "as you know." But I love the character and think he acts quite well. He talks about the meteor that drops Shadow, and name drops Chaos Energy, but tells us the project went up in flames, the scientist leader imprisoned, and Shadow put in stasis by Walters himself, seemingly regretful of the situation. And just as he's about to tell who the suspects are, much to Walters' dismay, the scene is jarringly hijacked by the Chow. Okay, go away now. And then Eggbots attack, the Sonic team only saved by a mysterious and badass biker.
Konnichiwa?
Alright, you get one really shitty joke, Sonic 3, another one that bad, and I will start deducting points. Walters is killed, but has just enough time to give Sonic a key to Gun's superweapon, trusting him to keep it safe. So you kill one of my beloved characters in these movies, replace him with Kristen Ritter, and then you do fuck all with her. I'll tell you, I love this movie, but it's pissed me off quite quickly. She comes in with a SWAT team, finding Walter's body, no key, and evidence that Team Sonic were there, so predictably, she assumes they're villains, not thinking of the myriad of other possibilities, like Shadow coming back, or finding any of the bits of destroyed Egg Robo and connecting it to Eggman. Never send a heroin addict to do an Olive Garden shill's job. They follow the biker, who turns out to be Agent Stone, the best movie original character behind Olive Garden Guy and Wade's mother, and he shows them to the depressed and disgusting Eggman, reprised very well by Jim Carrey. The movie literally cutting out all of the scenes that explain how he survived last movie, even if it happening was predictable. So Stone has brought them together to catch the imposter, and gets a fun cleaning up sequence, and only now am I realizing that Sonic is constantly disagreeing with Tails and Knuckles. So I guess it's nice to see that not only is the whole don't hold on to anger lesson followed, but also that Sonic gets some progression when it comes to relying on his friends in these stressful situations. We cut to Shadow wandering around the gun base he was kept in, and we flash back to his time there, showing a young Walters helping out the head professor's granddaughter, Maria, played by fellow Aussie, Elila Brown. And while looking for her room, she comes across Shadow, immediately doing well to show the bond between the two grow. We even get a really cute montage of them bonding, wreaking havoc for the scientists. In fact, all of Shadow's backstory is done quite well in this film. One of the many highlights, in fact. They have a cute moment under the stars, setting up one of the more heartbreaking moments of the film later.
A light shines, even though the star is gone.
Yeah, it does.
And much like Sonic and Tom, we get to see the quiet moment between the two as she supports him unconditionally when he worries. And boy, that cutback to reality was a work of creative genius. We see that the head scientist meets Shadow there, and once Shadow knocks out the Mobians through some nice moments, the scientist confronts Robotnik, revealing himself to be Gerald Robotnik, Ivo's grandfather, also played by Jim Carrey.
It's as if we're two characters in a movie being played by the same actor.
There are one or two small moments where I had a bit of an overdose of Jim, but he works strangely well with himself as the two bond. It's bloody strange, but it's played really well.
There's two Eggmen now?
Now there are two of them.
Shadow takes the first key, needing another to activate Gerald's superweapon, and the Eggmen escape in cheesy glory, as for the one time in the film Shadow suddenly has black hole powers. almost killing Team Sonic. Well, that came from nowhere. See what I mean about the strange power vagueness? Shadow will do one thing with his powers that'll go completely unmentioned ever again, and he'll never use it ever again, and it'll never be explained or brought up. Now with the Robotnik family together, they go bonding, and these scenes are pretty humorous. I especially love the Christmas scene, but I think it was just a tad too much. But not bad. And it does well to show how, with everything going on, Robotnik is further straying from his boyfriend, Agent Stone. Something he will continue to do until he realizes Stone is his best friend. The Sonic team get back home, Tom and Maddie begging for something to interrupt their downtime. There are also a lot of jokes about a tiny Tom puppet, which I shouldn't have liked as much as I did. Now comes a humorous heist planning scene, as they try to figure out how to get into Gun HQ and secure the second key. The villains are on the same trajectory though, popping up just across the Thames in a Doctor Who filming location. Tails calls Sonic out on how annoying he's being because, turn it down, dude. And the plan commences, getting a follow-up to the banger wedding subplot of the second film. And unfortunately, my thoughts on this scene are what the common consensus was about the wedding scene last time, as Tom and Maddie disguise themselves as Agent Muscles and the sister-in-law to get themselves into the gun servers. And on the whole, it's fine, but I found one of every 3 moments to be a bit cringe. So even when the other two are funny, I was waiting for it to be over. They succeed, but the Robotniks are getting in at the same time, and now, hearing Ivo make another streaming joke, it feels all the weird that they cut out his subplot where he live streamed. The Robotniks then get a dance sequence through the laser grid, and once again it goes on a little too long, but it is pretty fun, and thinking about the VFX, it's quite impressive. As soon as they get in, Sonic takes the opportunity to get past them. But all are captured by the heroin addict. She strangely acts like a villain, like I should be expecting the Robotniks to team up with the good guys to take her down or something. But Knuckles and
The Flames of Disaster!
take us into a decent set piece as he crashes in and causes chaos. All 3 factions vying for the key. There's some nice action and drama, like with the rebar that is genuinely a savage idea, and in the end, Tom disguises himself as Walters to get the keycard back from Kristen Ritter, and she doesn't appear again. Huh? She just did the whole villain thing. Had action against Ivo, setting up a rivalry, has unresolved issues with Team Sonic, is possibly a racist who hates illegal aliens and is taking it out on them. And then she just vanishes? Why was she here? Once again, I'll say this better be a setup for her to be Rouge's lesbian-looking sidekick, or I swear to God! Look, all jokes aside, it's just kinda strange that they forget she exists. Like, they wrote this as the end of her plotline, and then they just threw the character to the side and forgot about her. Tom's disguise leads Shadow to seek revenge, doing to Sonic what they did to him. Tom legitimately unconscious and carted off in an ambulance. It's brutal. The villains take off in their super weapon, looking quite impressive, just like the villains' suits. And once again, Ivo abandons Stone when the agent tries to warn Ivo of Gerald's duplicity. Poor Stone. Sonic is vying for vengeance, which is an interesting thing to see in the character. Knuckles having a great moment as he supports Sonic, but making sure he knows the Blue Blur has broken his promises.
Part of our oath is to trust each other, and I must abide by that promise, even if you have chosen to break it.
He reluctantly sends Sonic to grab the Master Emerald, taking it from a small Wade cameo that had people cheering in the cinemas, so take that, Knuckles show haters! Sonic takes the Emerald pretty easily, and my only wish to make this better would have been replacing this cameo with Wade's mum. I just think that interaction, and her protecting the Emerald as a greater warrior than Wade, would have been fucking hilarious. In the super weapon, Gerald eggs Shadow's revenge on. Oh, fucking hell. Sending us into the perfectly done flashback of Gerald trying to escape with Maria and Shadow. And even with Walters trying to stop them, a gun agent lets a shot off, blowing the base and killing Maria, leaving Shadow and Gerald to weep over her body. It's a powerful moment, but I was honestly surprised with how much her death affects Gerald. I was expecting him to just be the big evil villain that the minor, funny evil villain becomes a good guy to fight against. But he legitimately mourns Maria, and his despair turning into hatred makes for a great motivation. And it once again gives us another great cut. Gerald reveals the weapon is designed to destroy both the Earth and them, Ivo thinking he's insane, and Gerald shooting off some cold-ass lines.
We're family. We have each other.
Oh, Ivo. You're no Maria.
Super Sonic speeds through the ship, ripping Shadow out of it, and yeah, the whole Hedgehog fight is great, both in action, great CGI, and dialogue.
Now you know my anger, the pain I've felt for 50 years. And you've made the same choice I did.
Like I was saying, the Emerald powers get slightly annoyingly undefined as both absorb the energy, Shadow then wrecking his shit but Sonic coming back once allowing his hatred to fuel him, shooting Shadow to the fucking moon. So I suppose hatred makes you stronger? Pretty strange, you'd think the answer would be the power of friendship. Ivo funnily makes his move to take Gerald out, trying to stop the destruction of the Earth, leading into a pretty entertaining fight between the two. Most of the gag's funny, but a little too much, but it's pretty solid up to a certain point. As I said before, Sonic levels up thanks to hatred after Shadow taunts him about Tom, Sonic hitting him so hard the Emeralds lose power, and he's catapulted to the moon. It looks fantastic, and it's only once Shadow is waiting for Sonic to put him out of his misery does Sonic remember the obvious setup he had with Tom earlier, forgiving Shadow, just leaving the emo hedgehog confused. The two share a great moment where Sonic tells him the lessons he's had the opportunities to learn, and Shadow takes them to heart in an actually really sad scene. This is Sonic 3! Sonic, why are there so many emotionally impactful scenes?
The light shines, even though the star is gone.
Thanks to their little moment, they team up, with the great use of the actual Crush 40 song we've been hearing throughout the OST, and they head off to stop the super weapon. The Robotnik fight continues, and I'm put out of it once they start materializing animal features. No idea why, it just doesn't gel with me at all. Sonic and Shadow get another great action scene as they destroy Gerald's gunbots, and Gerald is killed in a hilariously anticlimactic scene with Knuckles and Tails' help. Shadow manifests more powers to get rid of the bots, and the weapon fires, the Hedgehogs taking the blast while the others direct the blast out of the way just before they lose their power. I love that Ivo can actually work with them without it coming out of character. It's great to see the character be sort of redeemed in what is likely his final Sonic movie appearance, unless there's an alternate evil version of him for Sonic 4, or something like this epic bit of concept art. Sonic loses consciousness, Tails heading down to save him with what is apparently their last ring, while Shadow vows to Ivo they should redeem themselves by saving the Earth, pushing it far enough away to not kill anyone. Tails fails to save Sonic, meaning Knuckles has to follow, and both remaining antagonists get great final moments. Seriously, it made me shed a little tear. Ivo dedicates a live stream to Stone after this bus glitches for some reason, and it's actually heartbreaking.
I'll miss your lattes with steamed Austrian goat milk. I love the way you make them.
I need more Agent Stone, even if Ivo never comes back. Pair him up with Shadow for a TV show or something. Speaking of Shadow, he thinks of Maria again, and along with Ivo, explodes in an impressive display. Sonic makes up with his friends, and I hope they keep the moon like that from now on. Like they don't bring it up, but every now and then we just get a glimpse. Stone wanders away, unsure what to do now, and the Wachowskis finally get their camping trip holiday. To lead into the mid-credits scene, they get to finish the race from before, Sonic appearing a long way away, and is accosted by some probably time-travelling Terminator-coded Metal Sonics. I'm hoping next film there'll be a Metal Prime or something, because I'm not too thrilled with the character having no individuality. And I'm guessing the next movie will be heavily based on CD, with Metal, time travel, and of course Amy Rose, who has a badass entrance, and although she doesn't speak, she has a great design. I guess she's taken a break from selling houses on Zillow. I hope for Sonic 4 that she gets a character outside of Sonic, badass action moments and such, but I hope they keep the little romance crush aspect in some way, without it stripping her of her independence. Basically, I'm hoping the writers can manage to write a strong yet feminine protagonist. Many shows and movies sacrificing one for the other, or just not able to mix the two very well. And of course, to tease his return, we see Shadow is alive, as if they were going to leave him dead. So that was Sonic 3. Yeah, not only is it probably the best of this franchise, it's just a great movie overall. There are moments that annoy me, I've gone into detail of a few of them, like characters disappearing, glitched VFX, and frustratingly vague power dynamics, but there are fantastic performances, 99% of the VFX and editing were perfect, the translation of game moments to the movie was seamless, and it made me both laugh a lot and shed a couple tears. By all accounts, Sonic 3 should not have been this good. but there are clearly clever and enthusiastic people behind it. This is the perfect trilogy Shrek wished it was. It was pretty great. I can't give it a 10, but it was definitely better than Knuckles, so I'll slide it in at an 8.5 or 9, but I'll just put it at an 8.5 so the graph looks great like this. But I highly recommend the movie either way. Thank you everybody for watching my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, and consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring that notification bell so that you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.